If your indoor plants are dying, don't give up on them. You can revive them. Master gardener and the green thumb guru, Ed Sordiff, he's here to give us some tips. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, so don't throw them away.
No, a lot of plants look like they could have met their maker and be dead, but actually they're going dormant because something didn't go right with them.
What is it that oftentimes doesn't go right? Watering sometimes?
Watering, not the right light. You can see actually I have two types of elephant ears over here. This was really pretty healthy. It's from the garden center, this one too, but you can see they're starting to yellow.
Yeah.
Because they came into the house, and that's what you're going to do with a lot of your plants that were out for the summer. So the plants start going into a little bit of shock this time of year. If you're bringing them in, they will start losing leaves. They're a little bit too excess. They're going to start acclimating to the house. So it's not really dying, it's just getting ready for like a new environment.
Yeah.
So what you would do, a lot of people when they see leaves yellowing, they start actually pouring more water in the plant, thinking, oh, I just have to water it more.
But that's definitely the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, that's the wrong thing. The plant's not looking for water. If you feel the soil is still moist, don't start drowning it. That would be the wrong thing to do.
And as a general rule of thumb, you always want a certain amount of moisture on the soil. Not too much, we're not flooding it, but just a little bit of moisture.
Yeah, just a little bit. You can tell by the touch. Some plants actually like to go a little dry to the touch, and then you actually add more water. Begonias are like that. So that's what would be going on with when you bring them in. This big hibiscus here, actually at the beginning of the summer, after it was in the house all winter, it didn't have a single leaf on it at all.
Really?
Yeah, it just didn't like the house. It's a tropical hibiscus. It didn't like the cool weather, the low humidity, the darkness of the house. So it just started pouting. It threw off all its leaves. And you would think it was dead, but here's a good way of finding out.
What a diva tree.
Yeah, and here's a good way of finding out if a plant has a woody stem like this. You can tell if it's dead or not because, like, well, here's a little bonsai that's been out all summer. This is totally dead. If you scratch the bark.
So this is the bark test.
Yeah, the bark test for something woody. You can see there's no green in here at all right under the bark. So if I did that, so now I know this one's actually dead. I gave him some time. It was dead. Now if I did that over here on
this hibiscus. Scratch that
and
one.
I just scratch. I don't know if they can see this at home, but see there's green in there?
There it is, yeah.
Yeah, so that green shows it was still alive. So even though it had lost all its leaves, it would be green.
Now almost all trees and plants are like that?
Yeah, this little sarissa here actually was as dead looking as this plant. It had not a single leaf on it. I left it in partial shade in the summer outside. All these leaves came back. You can see some parts of it did die.
Oh, it's green.
Yeah, it's green. Well, you can also tell because it has its leaves.
Well, I mean, it's also obviously alive. I was just checking the green.
Yeah, and it did well. It tells it works. So you can see some of these things did not come back, so you would just trim it, and then new branches will come out. And a lot of people like to go to the big box stores or different garden centers that have like clearance tables.
Yeah.
Because you can actually bring a lot of those things back to life if they're not too far gone.
Oh, okay. Also, the neat thing I found about those big box stores recently is most plants you buy there, they have a year-long return policy.
Oh.
So if your plant dies, you can return it.
That's a good thing.
We've used that once or twice.
That's especially good with perennials.
Now, what do we have here? What's this?
Well, this is a Tuberous Begonia. It's a type of begonia that has a big tuber. And some plants actually need to go dormant at a certain time of year. Like this one was fine all summer. It was blooming. It was really thick and healthy. Now that the nights have gotten cooler, there's not enough light outside, this plant knows that it now wants to go dormant. So it's going to start shriveling back. It's going to lose the stems, and there'll just be a tuber in the soil there. So what you can do with a tuberous begonia, you let it go dormant, and you bring it into, say, your cellar. You don't water it anymore. You can leave it in its pot. And what will happen in the spring, it will know when spring has arrived, and it will start putting up new shoots, and then you can start watering it again.
Smart plant.
Yeah, a lot of plants are like that.
Now, what about this bleeding heart over here?
Now, this bleeding heart's an outdoor plant. Now, I did the same thing to show that there's some plants have a time and a season. The bleeding hearts, usually they're spring through midsummer. If they get enough water, they go a little longer. This one is totally going dormant. There's only one little stem left. But in the ground, all the roots are going to be healthy, and they're going to be where the plant is actually existing now.
Now, is this something that we should cut back? Like, I have a lot of plants on my front walk that look like this, and my mother, if you're watching, thank you, tells me to cut them back to get them ready for the winter and then the incoming spring. Is that the right thing to do?
Yeah, that'd be a great
Mom.
thing to do because it just looks bad. Some things you leave up, like we talked about grasses the other week. You know, the grasses, the top.
grasses you leave up.
Yeah, just because it brings some interest to the garden in the winter, and the birds like it. But this wouldn't bring much interest, and it would.
And would it bring the energy back into the ground?
Well, this
If you
is
cut all
just
this dead stuff?
this is just dead already, so there's nothing to go in. The energy has already gone back to the roots, so
I
it's ready
understand.
for the spring.
Now, what about the things we have over here?
Well, this is just, I wanted to show, this is a spider plant. It's actually in not bad condition. It was really wilted before because there wasn't a lot of soil, so it was dried out. And I wanted to show, like, if you go to some of those big box stores, like we said, and they have those orchids, they actually have these big healthy roots, usually just like this. And you can see if you're going to redo a plant, you can actually see if the roots are healthy looking, and you'll be able to tell. Some look dry and desiccated. You can actually repot it, but you can cut away the old roots, leaving the healthy roots.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, if you know what, if you can tell the difference between the live and the
root
dead.
surgery, yeah.
Yeah, and then you would repot it in fresh potting soil like we have right here. And you don't ever want to plant indoor plants in loam from the garden because that just compacts.
I getcha.
So it's always this potting soils, and that works out really well.
Now, Ed, we have about 30 seconds left, but we have the ultimate rags to riches story right here.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this plant.
Well, this is a autumn crocus, and up until about a week ago, you didn't have any of this color. You just had this dead thing here. And if I planted it in the ground, what happens with autumn crocus is that in the summer it puts up its growth, then it dies back and it has a flower. So even though this looks like it was dead for months on end, once we dug it out of the ground, you can see that it's really alive and it was ready to go and it wants to live. So I'll be able to
even a
plant
plant like that, you can bring it back from the almost dead.
Yes.
Now, Ed, we're out of time, but real quickly, people can learn to become master gardeners. They go to the website, or they can go to our website, but it's wmmga.org.
Yes.
Learn more information there. And you're going to be at the Big E.
Yeah, and we're at the Big E in the Massachusetts building. You can go up to the desk and ask all your questions about plants, and you can also ask about the upcoming class.
Very cool. So everybody needs to swing by wmmga.org. Ed, thank you so much for stopping by. Coming up